everyone, Eddie and Mark from Keystone Productions back with the first day of my 4 years, 4 videos for you celebration. And this is our response to your question and answer questions. Well, hello once again, everyone. Eddie from Keystone Productions, back with my good friend Mark.
Hey guys.
And we are, as I said, here to answer all of your wonderful questions that we have received from the question and answer announcement video. So let's keep things moving because we have a fair bit of questions actually. You guys really pulled through. First off, from Speed Bricks Inc. Is it too late to ask what program you use for stop motion? No, of course it's not. What I use is Windows Live Movie Maker primarily, but I also use iMovie every now and then. And Mark, I don't know if you you used to make stop motions.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you. I think for all the stop motions I made, I used Windows Movie Maker, and it worked well, so.
Alright, second set of questions. We have 14 NASCAR stop motions 42. First he asks, who is your least favorite driver? Well, I actually tend to like most of the drivers, or at least appreciate what they have to offer. But there are two drivers that really grind my gears, and those are Clint Bowyer and Ryan Newman. I don't really want to get into the specifics of why I dislike them, but yeah, those are my least two favorites.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think I wouldn't say I have a driver that I hate or anything. But I think if I had to pick two least favorite, I think I'd probably have to say Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski, I think. That's just me.
I actually kind of like Keselowski, but that's for another video. Number 2, what is your favorite and least favorite track? Mark, if you want to go ahead and do this one.
Yeah, so I think NASCAR-wise, at least, I'd have to say my favorite would probably be Bristol, and then my least favorite probably either Dover, and even though it's kind of my home track, I'd say Texas, because I think the racing there lately has been honestly just horrible. But if I'm talking about non-NASCAR wise, then I think I'm going to be a little biased here and say that my favorite is Circuit of the Americas.
I see. And for me, I didn't really put too much thought into non-NASCAR wise, but in terms of NASCAR, I would have to say my two favorite tracks are definitely Pocono is number 1, even though the racing isn't always top-notch. I just love the track. It's my home track, and, well, it's pretty unique. And also, the Glen is my second favorite track, which, for the same reasons, it's close by, and it's a great circuit, and that always produces great racing. In terms of least favorite for me, I'm not entirely sure. I used to dislike Kansas until they repaved it, so I would have to probably say New Hampshire is my least favorite track. I'm not too sure why. I just don't really like New Hampshire for whatever reason. Although they do give out lobsters in Victory Lane, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the third question is, what is your favorite NASCAR race that you've ever watched? Well, due to some complications on my end of the deal, I am unable to watch most of the NASCAR races that air on TV. However, my most favorite that I have seen from beginning to end is probably the 2014 Daytona 500. It was just spectacular racing after the rain delay, and I honestly hope rain threatens Daytona for the rest of its history, because the rain has really provided amazing racing this year at Daytona, which is honestly kind of peculiar, because Daytona, even though it's a restrictor plate track, it pales in comparison to Talladega most of the time.
This one I actually had to put some thought into, because I've been watching for a few years now, and I've seen a lot of good races. But I think I picked two, the first one being the 2007 Pepsi 400, because I think that was one of the first races that I ever watched, I think, from beginning to end. And seeing the finish there with Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray duking it out there at the end of Daytona, I think, was definitely one of my favorites. It kind of hooked me on the NASCAR. And the second being the 2013 Auto Club race with Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. I think those were two pretty exciting races, and I think definitely hooked me onto NASCAR.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Auto Club was pretty amazing, and Jamie McMurray, Kyle Busch at Daytona, that's pretty much a classic finish there for highlight reels. Moving on now, Mr. Kevin Campbell asks, what is your favorite music, artist, or band? And I'm going to let Mark answer this one first.
Yeah, for a while, I didn't actually have a favorite artist or band. I've gone to see One Republic not too long ago, and so I'd probably have to say them as my favorite right now, but not by much. I listen to a lot of music, so I wouldn't say I have a sure favorite.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I listen to just about everything. Pop, country, easy listening. I'll even give classical a listening. So I honestly don't have a favorite. I do have some favorite songs, which would probably lead me to say maybe Fall Out Boy and One Republic as some of my favorites, but I couldn't pick a straight number one favorite of mine. And also the Jersey Boys are pretty cool for a little nostalgia. Moving on, we have the Most Awesome 43 fan. He writes in, when you look at your first ever video, what do you think? He's embarrassed by his. And honestly, my first video that is still public is actually a short 10-second stop motion from Legos. Actually a whole mini city layout. So it definitely isn't that great by any means. I would just say it's kind of a shocker, maybe, as to how far I've kind of come as an animator. But I wouldn't say embarrassment is one of my first thoughts. Actually, for the first video I've ever spoken in, which is one of the later videos I've published, that definitely brings some embarrassment to mind, without a doubt.
I think you kind of stole what I was going to say there, because my first video was a stop motion too, and I can kind of look back and see, wow, how much I've improved in that department. But then, yeah, the first video that I've ever spoken in, I kind of listen to my voice, and it doesn't even sound like me. So I guess, yeah, in a little bit, for me, it's kind of embarrassment too.
Moving on, we have, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now, this is probably a century-old question, but I would have to just say, well, as much as said woodchuck desires. I don't know if there's a proper answer, but maybe Mark has one.
I mean, if I were you, honestly, Awesome 43 fan, I'd just ask Siri or, Google it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that one.
And the third question from the Most Awesome 43 fan is, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And depending on the flavor of this Klondike bar, I would do just about anything within reason. In other words, I would not break the law, but I would do a fair bit of things to get said Klondike bar.
I think I'm kind of with you there. I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of Klondike bars, so I think I do. Yeah, I'm with you. I'd say just about anything within, like you said, good reason.
And the next questions come from, I really hope I don't mispronounce your username, Shahzain Rana, and they write in, how old are you? And well, I'm old enough to be considered old relative to most of the members of the NASCAR community. However, I suppose I'm not that old, and Mark's in the same boat as I am. And do you have siblings? I might, although at times I wish I don't. And I'm sure we're all in that same boat as well.
Yeah, same here.
Chase Kendrick writes in, if you both like NASCAR, and we both do, who are your favorite drivers? Mark, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, as kind of my old username had it doesn't make sense anymore, but my favorite driver is Carl Edwards, and he's the main one. My second favorite would be, I guess, still, if it counts, Mark Martin, but those are my main two.
And I'm pretty much the same way. Jeff Gordon's my favorite, and in terms of no longer active NASCAR drivers, Marcos Ambrose is my second favorite. Current active second favorite driver, though, is close between Kyle Larson and Danica Patrick. Number 2, do you like Jimmy Johnson? LOL. I now appreciate his talent, however, I would rather not see him win, and I think Mark's the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I dislike him, but I agree that I think we can appreciate his talents. He's a great driver.
And number 3, do you think NASCAR should add a road course to the chase? Absolutely. Which road course? If it's one that is currently on any NASCAR schedule, well, weather speaking, it would probably have to be Sonoma, but I would love to see Watkins Glen in the chase.
I agree. I think they should definitely add a road course in the chase. If I had to pick one, or I guess two, of course, I'm biased, so I'd say Coda. But if I had to pick one that's in NASCAR right now, I'd have to say Road America. I don't know if it would be possible, but I love Road America, so I'd love it if they added that into the chase.
Yeah, Road America is up there on my list, and maybe even run the road course configurations on, say, Daytona or even Pocono. Pocono has a couple road course configurations. Moving on to the next questions, Jeff Fair writes in 5 questions. For the first one, will you do a stop motion series again? Probably not. I don't even remember the last time I published a stop motion race. I know I'm halfway done with the race I started. However, I probably will never get around to finishing that, so this is the unofficial announcement that my stop motion series is once again canceled. And Mark wanted to make a stop motion series, I believe.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I'd still like to make a stop motion, but definitely not a series, I don't think. I don't have the time.
Number 2 from Mr. Fair, why do you call yourselves Keystone Productions? Well, Mr. Fair, I used to be called Lego Boy 1624 when I started this whole shebang exactly 4 years ago. And over time, since my videos have evolved and I myself with them, I've come to realize that is not the best username, so I started thinking of different usernames, and Keystone Productions came up, partly because Keystone has to do with the state in which I reside, and Productions because I previously referred to my videos as being a product of Brickstone Productions, so it's kind of a cross between my old username with something new, but also something relevant to me. And Mark had a big help in helping with this change. He designed this logo that you see in the back of all my videos, and he's had a lot of input with what I do on this channel, and as I said many times, I can't be happier to have him as a partner.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I tried to suggest a few names when Eddie had talked about kind of switching channel over and kind of rebranding, and ultimately I think we settled on Keystone Productions, and I think it's a big upgrade.
Yeah, the main factor was I think this was the only name that both of us suggested and liked that wasn't already taken, so that kind of helped make the decision for us, I suppose. Number 3, do you have NR 2003? I do not. I do not have the original game, and I do not have the guts to try to pirate it and download it from the internet because of my luck, the FBI would come knocking at the door as soon as the download was finished. I think Mark does have it in 2003, though.
Yeah, I do. I have it downloaded, and I played it for a couple days, I think, and I thought to myself, I'm going to start a series, but I didn't want to disappoint, so I kind of let that idea go. But I do still have it, so.
Mr. Fair writes in for his 4th question, what's 9 plus 10? 19, although if you watch Vine and have Vine, you'll know that it's 21. However, I don't have a Vine, although I just happen to know that. Moving on. Number 5, who do you think won the fight versus Brad Keselowski and Jeff Gordon? Mark, you can take this one away first.
I'm actually gonna do a spin. I think Kevin Harvick won because he pushed Brad Keselowski and kind of started the whole thing. So I think ultimately Kevin Harvick won the fight.
Very interesting. I honestly, I don't know if I could declare a winner, because having stated that I'm a big Jeff Gordon fan, he's my favorite driver of all time, one would easily say, oh, he won. But, I try to be a realist, and upon viewing all the replays, it could have gone either way between being Gordon's fault and Keselowski's fault. I mean, most people would make the case that it's Keselowski's fault because Gordon ran that line every lap, and he would probably have done the same again and all that. So I'm just going to leave it as I don't know. It could go as either, but I like the idea of Kevin Harvick winning. Mr. Goodlooks1 writes in, do you like my Lionel Cup series? I would have to say that it's pretty good. I would recommend moving the cars a little less and maybe speeding the frames up a little bit. And I think Mark said he had the same suggestions as well. His second question is, what is your favorite diecast of 2014? Well, my favorite diecast, I don't own it yet, but hopefully will, is Jeff Gordon's 2014 Pepsi Real Big Summer Chevrolet that he raced in Daytona in July. I don't really know why I like that paint scheme so much. Maybe it's the metallic blue or whatever, but I just really like it. And of all time, it's Jeff Gordon's 2012 DuPont Fantasy car, which, as you know, if you watched my 12 Days of Diecast, is my all-time favorite diecast in my collection. And although Mark doesn't collect diecast as much as he used to, I'm sure he has a favorite or two.
Yeah, well, I only have one 2014 diecast. It's the Carl Edwards UPS. So I guess I'd have to say that I agree with you on the Jeff Gordon Pepsi one. I really like that one all time. Wow. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do really like that Jeff Gordon car. But I don't know. I'll have to look. For right now, I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough question to answer, especially for fans of diecast collecting in NASCAR for over 5 years at the very least. So, but nevertheless, a very good question. And his third question is, do you like Tyler's Racing? They are a diecast dealer. Well, free publicity for Tyler's Racing. However, I have honestly never heard of Tyler's Racing, I'm sorry to say. If they are on eBay, I don't have an eBay account, so that is probably why I've never heard of them. I don't know if you've heard of them though, Mark.
I think I've seen them once or twice on eBay, but I've never personally ordered from them, so I wouldn't know whether I like them or not.
Yeah, sorry for that answer, Mr. Goodlooks1, but maybe Mark will have to give him some business sometime down the road.
Yeah.
Moving on, Target Cup Series. Any plans to start making stop motions again? Well, given the unofficial announcement of the canceling of my stop motion series season 2, one would think no. However, I am in the process of making what hopefully will be an amazing stop motion track, which hopefully will be done well before the summer, and therefore I will be able to make a stop motion on that track over the summer, and hopefully before that as well. In this 4 years, 4 videos for you celebration, I hope to have a stop motion race of some sort as a part of it, but if that doesn't materialize, I'll have to think of a different 4th video. But otherwise, I would say ideas are rumbling around for making stop motions and getting back into them, but no guarantees, unfortunately. Well, actually, yes, there is a guarantee. I will be making them, just I don't know when. And Mark, even though he doesn't make videos anymore, I don't know, maybe he does have a plan to just begin making stop motions.
I mean, yeah, there's some ideas and what that I'd like to, maybe, we'll see. But no promises. I'd like to in the future, but I said no promises.
And moving on to, we're getting towards the end at long last. We have Cody Hagan with his 4 questions. First, are you going to do sign-ups for the Honoring Our Heroes Racing series? Probably he means season 3. As I said twice now, no, that probably will never happen. The second question is, when did you start liking NASCAR? And that's a tough question because I honestly don't know. I may have been a fan for most of my life, but I honestly don't know. The best answer I can give you is definitely since 2007. And how about you, Mark? I think you touched on this before.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. Throughout all my life, I'm sure I've watched little bits of NASCAR races and liked it. But I think I became a fan, actually, I think around 06, 07, so kind of like you.
And his third question, when did you start your YouTube channel to LegoBoy1624 to Keystone Productions? I think you mean when I changed my YouTube channel. The actual date is June 10th, but if you meant to say why, I already answered that question, so you know the answer to that already. His last question, which I already answered as well, do you play NASCAR Racing 2003 season? No, I do not, but Mark did off and on. Moving on to Bronick Hedgehog, I hope that's how you say it. Oldest diecast you have? Let's see here. The oldest diecast I have is probably from 1999.
I actually had to look in my shelves for this one. The oldest one I could find is from 2002. And that's pretty old for me because I didn't even know what a diecast was when I was that young. So that's the oldest one that I could find. The oldest 124 I have, I think, is from 2005, I believe. So not that old in the 2000s, but still pretty old in my book.
His second question, Mr. Hedgehog, favorite video games? I don't play many video games. As a matter of fact, I never did have any Xbox or PlayStation consoles. However, I do have a Samsung Galaxy, and I do play Real Racing 3, and even though it's one of the toughest games to progress through in terms of game currency, it is definitely my favorite video game because of, well, everything they have to offer.
Well, I have a PS3, and I'd have to say my favorite games I play Gran Turismo, and I love the sports games, so I've got NCAA football and MLB The Show, and I did used to play the NASCAR games when EA had the license, but then ever since NASCAR the game started, I kind of fell away from that. So my favorite video games, I'd probably have to say NCAA football on PS3, but I like a lot of different kinds of games. So.
The third question from Bronick is, will you sign up for the Budweiser Cup Series? Sorry to say, probably not. I don't usually regard questions to sign up for your series. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Hopefully the sign-up date didn't pass. I'll take a look at it, and you should too, Mark, unless you did sign up.
No, I haven't signed up yet, but I'll check it out.
And the last question from Bronick Hedgehog is, can you give me a shout out? I guess I indirectly did, so you're welcome. All NASCAR 23 writes, favorite places at all that you've traveled to? Well, Mark is much more interesting than I on this topic, so I'll let him have the floor first.
Yeah, a favorite place I've traveled. This past summer, we did kind of like a West Coast trip. The Grand Canyon is probably number one in my list. San Diego too. San Diego is a great city. Those are the main places I've traveled. I've been to some other places across the country, but definitely the Grand Canyon is amazing. And then San Diego I love too.
And now for the boring answer from me. I have done extremely small amounts of traveling in my lifetime. So, although it's kind of lame, I'd have to say my favorite place I've ever traveled to was Pocono Raceway. And a second question, also regarding travel, are there any places you still want to visit most inside the United States? And Mark, you can go ahead and answer this first.
Probably if there's one place I'd select in the U.S., probably visit the East Coast and visit places like New York City and Washington, D.C. I think it'd be really cool to kind of learn the history of those places, and they've got a lot of museums and stuff. So that'd probably be the one place in the U.S. And plus, those places actually have winters, and I think it'd be kind of cool to experience the snow a little bit. I've been to Colorado, but I'd like to go visit the East Coast.
Yeah, it's a great place over here, I would have to say, not to plug too much for the East Coast, but my place that I would like to travel to, I would love to go to the Circuit of the Americas. It looks like a gorgeous track from all the pictures Mark has shared with me, and I watched the last bit of the F1 race this past year, which detailed the course very well. I would probably say Texas would be one of my places I'd like to travel to. And the last set of questions here are from Napa Cup Series, possibly saving the best for last. When did I join YouTube, and when did Mark join as well? I joined exactly 4 years ago today, so there's that answer for you.
I joined in May of 2010, so it's been like 4.5 years, which is an extremely long time.
And together we've joined for a little over 6 months, and it's been great, I have to say. Why haven't you made any recent stop motions? I already detailed that already. Mostly the motivation factor, but it's also time as well. And who are your top 5 favorite drivers? I think we both touched on this, but we only gave our top 2. So, Mark, if you want to give the rest of your top 5 list.
Sure. Definitely Carl Edwards is still at the top. I like Kyle Larson. I liked Marcus Ambrose when he was still around. Same with Mark Martin. At 5th, oh man, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd have a top 5 then. But Carl Edwards and Kyle Larson, I think for sure, are up there.
And for me, in terms of active drivers, Jeff Gordon's still at the top, and then Danica and Kyle Larson are kind of pretty much tied for second place. And actually, Brad Keselowski is my 4th favorite driver, and Eric Almirola is also my 5th favorite driver. But in terms of all-time favorite drivers, Mark Martin is, I think, second on the list, second to Jeff Gordon, and Marcus Ambrose is also somewhere in the top 5. I would say probably 3rd place. And the last question that Not the Cup series has, the last question in this entire enormously huge long video, is what inspired your videos? And Mark, if you want to take this away, go right ahead.
Yeah, well, that's a tough question, but honestly, I think just for me it was just fun to read over the comments and stuff and read what other people thought, and just the fact that you're kind of putting entertainment out there, and that for me it was just really fun to make videos. But I think that added almost incentive to kind of bring enjoyment to other people was, I think, inspiring enough for me to continue making videos for as long as I did.
And I would have to say that's pretty much mostly my inspiration as well. In terms of people I've gathered information from, there's a whole laundry list that I'd love to rattle off. But I would definitely say just the satisfaction of being able to entertain people, well, hopefully entertain people, and pretty much from there, the rest is history, I'd have to say. So I guess that pretty much wraps up this entire Q&A video. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, and thank you all for watching. Thank you for asking your questions.
That's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching this first video of 4 to come, and I hope you stick around for the rest of the 4 years, 4 videos for you celebration. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the amazing questions, and I hope to see you all again tomorrow for the second installment of my 4-year celebration. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Mark, once again for joining me, and I hope to have you back again very soon. And we'll see you in the next video.